Thank you, Mr. President. Let me start by saying that my remarks are neither personal against the nominee or partisan. This is a nomination for the State Board of Elections. I'm sure that colleagues are aware that it is just 5 people who oversee and certify our elections. The majority party has 3, including the chair. The minority party has 2 seats, including the vice chair. Traditionally, Mr. President, the 5 members have worked very collaboratively. It has been my honor in the 10 years that I've been in this body to work very closely with members from both parties on administrative, legislative, and implementation issues. When this person was nominated, it was my intent to research, have some conversations, but ultimately support the nomination. I have put a lot of time into this. And sadly, I'm rising to tell you that I'll be voting against the nomination, and I want to tell you why. I think one of the qualifications that we need to consider when selecting our members of the State Board of Elections is their temperament. Another is their judgment. I have found this nominee to be severely lacking on both. I will say also that much of this data has come since the Executive Nominations Committee review, questioning, and vote. And I want to thank the chair and the vice chair for the conversations that we've had. But I have made a lot of calls, frankly, to Republicans, and mostly to those in Howard County who know this nominee best. Words that have come up include inappropriate, litigious, and they talk about overstepping and boundaries. I'm not an attorney. I'm grateful to my staff who helped with some of the research online. We were able to find several lawsuits that this person was involved with, including one against the Howard County Planning Board, one against the County Detention Center. Both were dismissed as not being credible. And those were just 2 that were kind of low-hanging fruit that we were able to find. I want to tell you about the current members of the board to give a contrast. So the current chair is Michael Summers, who many members of this body may recall was a member of the House of Delegates and served on the election subcommittee. He's from Prince George's County. The vice chair and former chair is a Republican. He is a faith leader, executive pastor at Redemption City Church in Baltimore, has worked in corporate and estate marketing for elections for 8 years. He was on the Anne Arundel County Board of Elections and 4 years served as president. I have found him as chair during the Hogan administration. I found him to be supremely collaborative, accessible as he chaired the Board of Elections. And in my view, his leadership is part of why our elections have been so smoothly run, with thanks to obviously our local boards of election and our State Board of Election staff. But from the board perspective, his leadership has been invaluable. The third member of the State Board is someone this body knows well and enthusiastically supported just recently through the executive nominations process. He was late President Miller's chief of staff. Prior to that, he was deputy chief of staff. He served as chief of staff to this president. and worked well with all 47 members, regardless of party. In my opinion, and I suspect that everyone in this body would agree, he was, again, thoughtful, collaborative, responsive, diligent, all the things we would want in a chief of staff, as our current chief of staff is, Mr. President, and what we would want in the really important job at the State Board of Elections. The next member has been in the leadership of the League of Women Voters. Again, I'm sure everyone listening is aware that the League of Women Voters is scrupulously nonpartisan and just provides factual information. They do the voter guide. They work with people of both parties. And this member of our State Board of Elections, again, thoughtful, diligent, and does her homework before speaking. There is a recess appointment that has already been announced, and that person has been the chair of the Montgomery County Board of Elections during the last administration, chaired, worked very closely with both parties, and to be clear, is an active Republican. The reason why he did not come before executive nominations yet is because he's on the ballot right now to be a delegate to the Republican National Convention for Nikki Haley, and so therefore he is ineligible to serve on the State Board of Elections while he's on the ballot. But he has served in private law practice. He worked as a district attorney, has run for office and all that. So he will be a recess appointment. Unfortunately, when he takes office, as those on executive nominations know, when he takes office, that will result in the departure of the person that I described before, the former chair, who is now vice chair. And that's a loss for the State Board. We will lose that experience. Excuse me. So I'm going to wrap up. There are 2 pending lawsuits that have been brought against our State Board of Elections. We don't know who all of the plaintiffs are, and I can say that this nominee did a much better job of scrubbing her social media pages than some of the other nominees. It was hard to get a lot of information. It is unknown to what degree this person, and I am not accusing because I don't have the data, but I'm saying that we don't have the data and cannot get the data. I worry about confidentiality. I worry about partisanship, extreme partisanship, and stories that I heard are about this nominee going into precincts, to polling places on election day, touching things, interfering with the judge's work, and doing so with the imprimatur of being a Howard County Board of Elections member. I have spoken to a number of Howard County election people, Republicans. Again, I've heard a lot of stories. The Maryland Republican Party has sent us several nominees who have all proven to be inappropriate to be on the Board of Elections. One was rejected before it even went to the Executive Nominations Committee. The governor refused to put his name forward because of criminal challenges. The second one, the Executive Nominations, rejected. And the third one resigned after being arrested by the FBI for participating in the insurrection on January 6th. These were the last 3 nominations by the Republican Party before this one. I think we need smart, thoughtful, collaborative Republicans with experience and a passion for democracy that is fair, transparent, accurate, and inclusive. I'll be voting no, and I urge you to join me in considering a red vote. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Senator.